Fortaleza, Brazil, one of the most violent cities in the world. Like in many cities of Brazil, like here in Rio, you will find these kinds of settlements, mostly known as favelas. Drugs and violence, many people suffer, especially children. For them, help from organizations is crucial. We will get to know them.
Eu sou Flaviana, sou educadora
I'm Flaviana. I'm a social educator at Opico Nazareno. I accompany the families who live here in the Lagoa do Urubu settlement, most of whom live in very precarious situations.
Elas moram em situação muito precária.
Opico Nazareno, meaning the Little Nazareno, monitors 11 settlements. Flaviana works for the organization for 5 years now. She and her colleagues support families in need.
A gente identifica demandas, sobretudo em que o
We identify demands, especially where the public authorities don't succeed, where they don't come to meet the needs of these families who live here in the settlements. We've identified a lot of rights violations, especially for children. They don't have access to documentation, and education is very difficult. Many children have dropped out of school.
Muitas crianças foram da escola.
This work is needed. According to the Kids' Rights Index report 2024, Brazil takes the 102nd spot behind states like Bangladesh and Iran. But the country still performs better than some European countries such as Romania. It's a challenging life for young people.
Today, specifically, we are visiting the homes of young people who are already working as young apprentices, to monitor them and see how they're doing, to see what demands the family has. Because we don't just send them to the job market, but we closely monitor the whole development of these young people and their families too.
Jovem Aprendiz is all about integration into the job market. Today we meet Samara and her children. Her daughter Simara participates in the program. A bright future with a rocky past.
We lived for rent, but didn't own that house. And where we lived got very wet when it rained. It was just a tiny room. Because of this threat, we decided to come and live here.
Do you remember an episode when you were waiting and there was nothing to eat in the house?
The houses are often built by the inhabitants, so there is no rent, one worry less for the single mom of 3. In Brazil it can be tough to get by. In January 2024, the legal minimum wage in Brazil was $1.25 per hour. In the US it's about $7. That's why they need the support of Flaviana and her team.
I didn't expect any of this. I enjoyed meeting Opico Nazareno with Samara. If I had known about them before, I would have come or started earlier. Every day she woke me up to go to work.
Minhas amigas disse que também quer fazer, né? Ela disse que eu já desde tamanho já trabalho, né?
My friends say they want to do it too. I've been working since I was young. There's a friend of mine who has a daughter where I work, and she keeps saying she's going to Opico Nazarenos to get them to put me in this job, because I want to work and support my family. She lives with her aunt, she wants to support her daughter, and she keeps saying that.
Quero sustentar minha família, né? Que a tia dela, né? Que ela mora com a tia dela, sustentar a filha dela. Ela vai falando.
Next up is Juan's place. He lives in the same settlement with his mother and siblings. His mom had to move with her kids due to the rent, which she could no longer afford.
She had trouble paying the rent. She didn't have much money, so she was sometimes late paying the rent and water bills. Before, these houses didn't have roofs. There were no roofs before we moved in. There were no floors either.
It was barely a home, but they made it livable. His mom didn't give up.
Ela é muito guerreira.
She is a real fighter. I can't even explain it.
Eu não sei nem explicar. Ela já fez
She has
tanta
done
coisa
so
por
much
nós.
for us when we are alone in the middle of nowhere.
Eu gosto muito.
In our conversations, I feel like she is my best friend.
Ela como minha melhor amiga.
After that, the life changed. At first, without him even knowing.
Eu tava indo buscar o resto das coisas na outra casa que nós estávamos.
I was going to get the rest of my things from the other house where we stopped living in. Then they stopped my mother and asked her if I wanted to go to Opico Nazareno and check it out. At first I thought it was strange, but then I liked it. I liked finding a job, my first job. That was something that had never crossed my mind, having a first job.
E foi uma coisa que nunca passou na minha cabeça de ter primeiro emprego.
He is ready to take matters into his own hands. It's a reward for the social workers' fight.
Porque eu acredito, né, assim, é uma missão minha enquanto uma pessoa que também eu já morei numa comunidade.
I believe it's my mission. As someone who has also lived in a community, I know that people's reality. With professional support, people can change their lives. They can transform their lives. I believe in the power of compassionate care to humanize and uplift people.
As pessoas podem transformar suas vidas.
Step by step, young people's lives are being transformed for the good. Before moving on, what does favela mean? Let's take a closer look at the notorious term. The state of Brazil defines a favela as predominance of households with different degrees of legal insecurity of ownership and at least one of the other criteria: absence or incomplete provision of public services, predominance of buildings, streetscapes and infrastructure that are usually self-produced or are guided by urban planning and construction parameters that are different from those defined by public bodies, location in areas with restrictions on occupation defined by environmental or urban planning legislation. Next up, one of the biggest and richest cities in the southern hemisphere, São Paulo. It's Brazil's economic center and home to over 11 million people. But where's light, there is shadow. More than 1 in 10 inhabitants lives in a favela. In numbers, more than 1.7 million people. In the periphery, far out from the rich neighborhoods, you will find people in need and those who help them, like Edila from the aid organization Kolping. Her work is to empower young people and families.
Há muitas famílias que têm necessidades e elas moram nas áreas livres, nas favelas.
There are a lot of families who have needs and they live in the open areas. In the favelas, overcrowded, and they don't have the opportunity to study. They don't have an opportunity for recreation. There's also drug trafficking, drugs, drinking, sexual abuse, and moral abuse. Kolping offers promotion for these families.
Então, a obra Kolping, ela oferta esta promoção para essas famílias.
The problems are the high costs of living that puts children in a precarious situation.
É a vulnerabilidade, é a necessidade também de alimentação.
It's vulnerability and the need for food. Many families don't have enough to eat, and the children end up in the background because you must pay for water, electricity, and a notebook that is necessary.
Caderno que é necessário e a família não tem. As crianças, elas ficam em situação de risco social, de vulnerabilidade.
The children, they are in a situation of social risk, of vulnerability. They live in small houses. The houses aren't very comfortable. Either the father or the mother works. Plus, many don't have a father at home either, so the children are left alone. Many stop studying to sell sweets and candies at the traffic side at the train station. Through our project, we train these children and teenagers, so they enter the job market.
E esse adolescente, ele entra no mercado de trabalho.
One of the recipients is Mateus. He's 18 years old. He welcomes us in the house he and his mother used to live in.
My childhood was barely any kind of calm. I grew up and things got worse because, as I grew up and certain friendships appeared, I ended up taking a wrong path. But today, thank God I've come out of it, and my life has improved a lot. Today, thanks to God, I work, I help my father, my mother, and even though it's not very easy, there are difficulties there, we always manage to keep going.
His father had to leave the family after an incident. He accidentally burned Mateus's face with boiling oil. The people in the favela accused him of attempted murder. They gave him the choice, leave or be killed. He left, so it was Mateus, his mom, and his siblings.
My father was gone, and my mother worked long way from home. So, I started working early in the morning to help my mother. I managed to go to school and work, but it was very hectic because the time I had was so short. I'd rush home, have a shower, eat on the run, go to school, and when I got to school, I'd get tired and end up falling asleep and missing half the lesson.
This situation caused tension in the very small home.
I didn't have much respect for my mother. I went out and wanted to come back late. I didn't value my mother very much. Today, thank God, I have a good relationship with her. When she says something, I don't complain, I keep my calm and move on.
Now he has a perspective. He left the past behind. With the help of Kolping, he managed to find a job in a local paint store.
Today, I managed to pay the bills for the rent. Today, thank God, there is always food on the table. In the past, we didn't have that. Today, I'm doing well. I'm thanking God. There are certain things that complicate things a lot, but you must hold your head up and move on, right? If you don't fight, you won't win. You must keep fighting.
His fight paid off. His future plan, moving to the United States, work hard, and buy his mom her own house. The next fight, he is willing to win. Back to Fortaleza, back to the next favela.
Estamos indo na ocupação chamada Alto das Dunas.
We're going to the settlement called Alto das Dunas, a housing settlement here in the Vicente Pisão region, very close to the seat of Opico Nazareno. We're going to meet some community leaders. Then we're going to visit some of the families accompanied Opico Nazareno, here in Vicente Pisão.
Acompanhadas pelo Pequeno Nazareno, aqui no Vicente Pisão. Nós vamos precisar baixar os vidros.
We have to lower the windows because it is a community with problems in terms of violence.
Com as questões de violência.
And who and what these community leaders are and why they are so important for the settlements, this we will find out now. Before getting in touch with families in need, Opico Nazareno meets the community leaders, voluntarily communal representatives.
Bom dia, gente! Bom dia! Tá, companheiro? Tudo bem? Graças a Deus. Tudo bom, ali? Tudo bom? Oi, gente. Oi.
Vocês moram aqui na comunidade.
You live here in the community. You know much better than we do. You know what the reality is like. And so, without your partnership, we wouldn't be able to carry out our work with such excellence. I'd like to hear from you. How is it going?
Eu gostaria de ouvir de vocês, assim, como é que tá?
A comunidade saiu desse momento, né, que foi esse momento.
The community has come out of this difficult time of the rains. Opico Nazareno was there for us. We're still going through a process in which the community is finding it very difficult to fight hunger and survive. But Opico Nazareno is always welcome in the community to carry out its work. The doors are always open to you.
Sempre bem-vindo na comunidade para executar trabalho. As portas estão sempre abertas para vocês.
Você poderia dizer pra gente?
Could you tell us what your work is like with your colleagues here? What a challenge it is to be a community leader. Could you explain to us what it means to be a community leader?
Community leadership, above all, is altruistic work in search of dignity in our city, which is very underdeveloped, unfortunately. It is the day-to-day struggle for human survival and for the dignity of our families, our dignity.
After updating with the community leaders, it's time to meet up with some of the families accompanied by the aid organization.
Bom dia.
Hello there. Can I come in?
This is Rebecca. Her story has similarities to Samara's from last time.
Porque eu morava de aluguel, né? Aí aqui eu não tinha minha casa, né?
Here, I'm fine. I couldn't afford living for rent. Here I got my shack. I've been getting paid for 4 months now. I go to the traffic lights, and my husband goes to work in the recycling. He goes on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Mondays. I go on Fridays and Saturdays.
Sexta e segunda, né? Dia de segunda, quarta e sexta. Aí eu vou pro sinal dia de sexta e sábado.
Recycling means roomage through the garbage for recyclable material that can be sold at recycling centers that brings barely enough for a family. If both parents are working, the children must accompany one of them.
Querendo ou não, no barraco nós sofremos, né? Em barraco.
Whether we like it or not, we suffer here in the shack. When it rained, the boards get rotten and you face some challenges. Like, the children get sick because of the weather.
E as crianças pegam muito quando tá no tempo, igual agora tá no tempo.
Opico Nazareno helped me when I needed it. When I was pregnant with her, when I had nothing, it helped me a lot. Because it gave me the basics for them, like diapers for my little one. It was a time when it helped me a lot, and it still helps me.
It's a step towards a life in dignity. For the future, she wants what all mothers want for their children.
That they will live in a better environment.
Do you have this dream for them?
Of course, it's every mother's dream.
A dream that the young mother continues to pursue. A few minutes by car, we arrive at the next community, Gengibre. The community leader, Francis, knows best about the struggles the people face here.
Aumenta a população, a deficiência aumenta mais. A gente necessita aqui.
As the population grows, accessibility issues increase. We need urbanization here in this lagoon area and structural improvements, which are also lacking. Everyone remains on the street. There are many, many accessibility issues. However, these are our priorities here.
Tem muita deficiência. Porém, as prioridades são essas.
Also, the water here is a threat.
The water floods houses and shacks, and people have to go stay with relatives until the water recedes. Then it comes back again. We have this problem here, and we continue to have this same problem.
Together, we meet one of the very few single fathers in a favela, Senor Assis. He is living in this shack with his daughter, Vitória.
Tudo bom, meu amor? Tá tudo bem?
I had a tent there at Lagoa, and from there I moved here. And when you came to visit me here, it was all just made of wood.
He earns his money with finding recyclable material. Even though his health has suffered under this work, he only thinks about his daughter's well-being.
Blessings that you came here, and I was already terrified. The suffering was terrible. And so, the only thing left is to keep working. My plans, God willing, are that He will bless me before I die and leave the house ready and good for my daughter, at least when she is 15 years old, so she knows what the world is like. Because the way things are in the world, no one can trust anyone. Every day I pray and ask God to leave a good home for my daughter, to bless her.
To help him and little Victoria, they have support from Opico Nazareno, like on this evening. There's a special occasion taking place with this mobile school and dancing classes. Opico Nazareno offers learning and socializing opportunities.
The problem is that this community has several shortcomings. Education is one of them. We have one school for the entire community, for the entire neighborhood. So there is a serious problem with children's access to school. That's not enough, because we also need these children to have access to education, right? In its full extent, so that they can attend a regular school.
It's a special moment for the social workers, a motivating moment.
It's the most enjoyable moment when we see children smiling. We see families integrating with each other. We see the movement of happiness within the community. So for us, it's such a joy to provide this moment for the community.
As nighttime starts, the mobile school must go for today. Welcome to Rio. The metropolis is probably the most famous city in Brazil. It's synonymous with samba, beaches and soccer, just like the legendary Maracanã Stadium. But Rio is also notorious for its favelas. The self-built houses are piled up on the slopes of the mountains. Today we get to know Brazil's best known and most infamous neighborhoods. The entrance to the favela in the Penha district of Rio de Janeiro, one of the most dangerous places in Brazil. Around 100,000 people live in the neighborhood. One of them is 17-year-old João Gabriel. He lives here with his mother.
It's been a pretty hectic life. I wake up early, go to school or training. I study after that. Now I'm studying at night. It's been pretty hectic so far, but I like it like that.
But everyday life in the favela is not always so calm. The reason? Street fights between the police and gangs.
Every 2 weeks or so, there's an operation in which the police go up with the caveirão. Nobody can leave the community. No one can work because of the gunfire, and nobody is going to risk their life like that.
During a police operation, everyone must stay at home, like this video shows.
On the day of an operation, almost everything in our lives stops because we can't go out to work. We have to stay at home. Living here has its good and bad sides. The good is that everyone is very close. There's the soccer pitch upstairs.
Soccer is more than just a sport for the Brazilians, and the young people in the communities are no different.
Soccer isn't just about playing. You must be aware of what you're doing with the ball on your foot, or even without the ball to see how you're moving. It means love, passion. I love that field, and the soccer there, the people, all of that.
João Gabriel is passionate about soccer. He scores a goal and sends a little heart and says, "It's for me."
Quickly grab the sports gear, then we're good to go. Through alleyways, up and countless steps. While he greets his teammates, the first teams kick off. The organization Street Child United Brazil organizes the recreational fun. Besides football, the organization offers courses, for example, in English. Adam Reed is one of the main organizers.
What you see here just now is a typical Saturday morning for us. When we created this place, when we built this place, we called it a safe space. That's what it was for. It was a secure place, a safe space for kids to play, right? We're in quite a dangerous favela.
The 63-year-old Scott likes to watch. The organization is funded only by donations. Children and teenagers, boys and girls play here all together.
The kids are very inspiring themselves. When I say inspiring, it's because the people that live here, these kids, have a lot of potential. There's so much ability in these favelas. And I feel sad that they don't get as many opportunities as I think they deserve. So I just, I try and help in that respect as much as I can. We've had success with our girls' football team by taking them to other countries and winning tournaments, and they come back as role models for all of these kids here. So there's a lot of pride in the project, and it kind of shows them that there could be another road, there could be other opportunities for them.
One of the successful players is Thaisa. She is one of the trainers on this day.
For me, it means a lot of love, harmony, which is something I've been playing since I was a child. I've always played with my cousins, my neighbours. So soccer for me is a very important thing in my life. It makes me forget all the problems I have inside.
Especially for girls and young women, it's tough to get by in everyday life and on the pitch as well.
It's very difficult to have a girl playing and so on, so here soccer is for them. I think it's very important because we can encourage other girls to play. Soccer can be played with boys because there are lots of girls who play better than boys.
Here they all play together, a change of pace from everyday life.
I've scored 2 goals today and won 3 games so far.
Before the session ends, there is firework and gunfire to hear. The youngsters are used to it. It is nothing special. What motivates the organizers working in that hostile environment?
There's times my family and friends say, Adam, it's Saturday morning, why are you not on the golf course? Why are you not playing golf? And I could be. But, I come up here and it's great. So it recharges my batteries as well.
It's a win-win for everyone. Another day, another ride with a car in Fortaleza. Let's talk with Tazani, community leader of this settlement.
Foi uma ocupação muito complicada, a gente teve aqui muita resistência, né? Porque a pessoa que se dizia.
It was a very complicated settlement. We had a lot of resistance here because the people who claimed to own the land tried to evict the community. They used the children in the occupations in a very violent way, as well as suffering from health problems, especially the illnesses of the children in the occupations.
É algo muito absurdo, né? As crianças estão sempre com problema respiratório.
Besides the precarious living conditions, health is a big issue, especially when living on sand.
There's no basic sanitation nor protection for the intense dust. The precarious housing causes foot mycosis, foot bugs. In this situation, living with the lack of basic sanitation means living with cockroaches, rats, and scorpions.
How survival is possible shows us one inhabitant. One of the members living in the settlement is Patricia with her kids. She tries to make the best of living here, even though it's tough.
Day-to-day life is difficult. You get up in the morning, the 4 children I have all go to school. Then I'm on my own. When it's 11 a.m., everyone comes home again. If you have food, you prepare it. If you don't, you must wait for the Bolsa Familia to come, so that we can survive our day. It's not easy. The four of us sleep here. My little girl sleeps over there. My husband sleeps on the sofa.
Not only the sleeping situation is challenging, so is the hygiene.
The animals walk around in the morning, their tails on the floor. In the morning I get up and start watering, because they might have urinated on food. That's why my foot is also inflamed. I don't know what it was.
Some animals also transmit potentially life-threatening diseases such as leptospirosis. It can cause meningitis, among others. Reality is merciless.
We don't want our children to go through what we had to go through. We want the best for them. I used to struggle a lot. I used to do cleaning in order to survive with the children. It's very difficult. I've been through a lot of struggles, a lot of difficulties.
One help for her children is, how could it be different in Brazil, football.
He wants to play ball. My boy is sleeping with a ball. He likes it. He truly likes it. There are days when I say, "Stop playing. When would you finally want to eat?" But it's good this way. Thank God my children are great.
And her son knows how to kick in the sand. But it's a dangerous place to play due to parasites.
I like playing ball, but then I got stung.
And your foot, what happened to it?
And there was a black bug.
It itched? What happened?
It hurt.
And this is what the parasites look like. They live in the sand and cause infections. Opico Nazareno's first duty was to get the ill to a doctor. Medical attendance isn't always nearby. Now let's find out more about Opico Nazareno. The organization operates since 1994 under its current name, located in Recife, Manaus and Fortaleza. Their job?
Seeking out these people, identifying their demands for rights, and trying to be a bridge between what is offered in terms of the state and public policy and what these people need.
To be fair, the Brazilian state is doing a lot, but the problems are profound and cross-generational. The offered support includes the provision of food as well as cultural activities and sports.
These children don't have a square to play in. They don't have a court to play soccer on. They live in communities where garbage accumulates, sewage accumulates, diseases accumulate.
43 people work here in Fortaleza for Opico Nazareno. One of them is Cynthia. She points out the problems for young people.
My job is to liaise with our partner companies here in Fortaleza so that they can provide an opportunity for teenagers and young people from underprivileged communities to get their first job.
One of Opico Nazareno's approaches is to integrate the youngsters into the job market, and this work pays off.
I think it's great that they help young people to have their own money and independence. They're very important to me.
This organization means happiness. It's like another family. Whatever I can do to help bring more people to our project, I do.
I think it's a team that really wants to help young people who are really doing the right thing, which I think is growing and is very strong.
Sounds like an easy, all-the-way successful venture, right? Unfortunately, it isn't, due to crime.
In some communities, our presence is not tolerated, and we can't get in. We've had several cases where we've gone to make a first visit, a first contact. And right there, at the first contact, they say, "Who are you? We don't want you here." And then we cannot do anything because we're not going to fight with people who are armed with weapons and who could threaten our lives.
Safety first, even if this means that the children there are not given the chance of a better life. For the ones they reach, the social workers know about their work's value.
This work is something that really motivates me every day, to wake up and to get here. The whole institution has been doing it for a few years now, and every day I think it's this work that we do that is fundamental.
While some people don't let in any help, elsewhere some people are on the edge of being forgotten. The state of Santa Catarina, more than 10,700 kilometers distance to Berlin, almost 10,000 to Rome. Why these two cities? Many immigrants from Germany and Italy settled in the southern state in the 19th and early 20th century. Of course, they didn't find empty land. Indigenous tribes called it home before the settlers arrived. Their clash caused murder and expulsion. One of the biggest tribes is called Xokleng, and a few members of them live close to the city of Blumenau, hidden from curious eyes.
Nessa cidade, essa aldeia, untold.
This village has been funded 9 years ago. There are families living here. They've taken back housing. They've taken back education. They've taken back health. And they've also taken back the Xokleng territory.
It's an ongoing conflict, which is fought sometimes with violence. Here, the 13 families live and work in peace, just like Mukuna.
Here I make handicrafts to sell in the city, to support my family, my mother, my father, my brothers. And we've been here for many years now.
He's 21 years old. Even though he is an adult, thinking about his youth brings up old wounds.
It was difficult for me to adapt back here, as I spent a lot of time in the city, which has a lot of prejudice, a lot of discrimination. I suffered a lot. I often got bullied because I was indigenous. It's simply that my childhood here was difficult. I was bullied a lot at school. Because I'm indigenous, I thought I didn't belong here. But here I am again, with my family. And we're going to get back on our feet here.
It's a concern that is shared by many indigenous tribes, the loss of culture and knowledge. The young people are being robbed of their cultural identity.
Our culture, it must be alive today. Our mother tongue, it must be within us today. Our spirit, our traditions, it must be inside us. That's what we are. That's what we're passing on to our grandchildren today.
But something has changed in the meanwhile. Some prejudices have been overcome, as one member describes.
I've got used to getting in touch with people, but when I first arrived, it was complicated. Because it was different. I was new. People were bullying me. But now it's fine. I've made friends with many people.
Eduardo is 16 years old. He overcame the bullying, so it's a happy life? No, because there are still tensions between the indigenous and the Brazilians.
For my future, I want to finish school and study to be a geologist. But for this place, in a few years' time, I don't know what it's like. So, I hope that it doesn't get abandoned again, because it was all abandoned once we arrived. We cleaned it up, it was full of garbage. So, I don't want it to be like that again, you know?
His experience shows that the society is changing, accepting the natives. But it's still a long way to go until they reach equality. Some skyscrapers are visible from every point in Fortaleza. These are hotels, but when you enlarge the picture, you'll see the contrast. This settlement is called Sapor. Community leader of this favela is Amanda. She describes the situation of living there like this.
A gente estamos totalmente esquecido desse órgão chamado poder público.
We are totally forgotten by public authorities. They came about 2.5 years ago. They put a stop to the cooling of the houses, which has had an impact on the residents of the community in terms of making improvements to their houses. And because of the constant rainy season, and most of the houses here in the community are made of wood. Wood encounters water. It ends up deteriorating.
E esse congelamento veio para que a gente não faça mais melhoria em nossas casas.
The nearby river becomes potential life-threatening during rainy seasons, causing visible and invisible marks.
As crianças ficam traumatizadas com a chuva, né?
Children are traumatized by the rain because the river level rises. There are children who are submerged by the water, so they end up having a certain trauma when it starts to rain. They're afraid of dying. Apart from the diseases that come with the water, rats and other insects and other kinds of diseases that children and adults can contract.
Entering the settlement, there are leftovers of houses, places where people used to live feel safe.
If you look at all the houses that are on the banks of the stream, they must be at least 1 meter high. Because when the water level rises, what happens? These houses are completely submerged by the water. So if they go into the ground, the resident not only loses everything, also they can't get out because the water level rises too much. If they find out, they are submerged. So what happens? They build their houses higher so that they don't lose so much. But what happens when the water comes? Digs the pillars out of the ground, and each flood, each that passes, the house becomes more vulnerable and ends up being destroyed, falling down like the house that had fallen down. The house that was there fell down. The house that had fallen down, and many, many that are about to fall down.
Let's meet one of the residents living in this house. It's a family. Higilani with her mother. They have lived here for several years.
Tudo bom, Regilane? Regilane também. É isso. Quando chega em dezembro, a gente já fica na.
When December comes, we're already worried. Flooding, the rain.
Da chuva, Eles enchem. Mulher já chegou de vir bater aqui, água, sair de casa,
When the flood hit here, I had to be rescued because I can't swim. I've also had issues with children where I've had to go out at dawn with them in the rain. It's a bit difficult, but unfortunately, until we get something better, it's the way to go.
Enquanto a gente não consegue algo melhor, é o jeito, né?
These are the marks left behind by the pouring rain. Higilani used to live in this shack.
Aí deu enchente, foi meu primeiro enchente aqui, né?
It was my first flood out here, which my mother and I have been through. Then the flood hit, and I lost everything. I was left with nothing but my clothes to wear and my boy and husband. We lost everything, but thankfully everyone received donations of clothes. It was Opico Nazareno who came to donate.
The organization helps in the moments of extreme need, including after natural disasters.
Também ele conseguiu dar
Opico Nazareno also managed to renovate my mother's shack. The organization tried to reinforce some things. It helped a lot of people and still does.
Ajuda, bem dizer.
Sometimes there are the basic things that are needed, and for that, Opico Nazareno also comes in. Days of accompanying people helping children in need come to an end. Time to sum up. How does Flaviana see the lives of children in Brazil?
São cheios de muitos desafios, né?
Their lives are full of challenges because there are so little opportunities. opportunities that the children don't have access to secure a more dignified future. We listened again to the life stories of these families and their suffering. This one is very impactful. It's very reflective in the sense that what I do is what Opico Nazareno team does. It's very important, you know, for the lives of each of these families. It's important because there's no one to look after them.
A importância porque não existe ninguém que olha.
It motivates me a lot because we're not standing still. We're on the move together with other people too, who believe in a greater good, and that is it.
Now you have seen Brazil's lesser-known side, its problems and people, and its fighters for children's and adolescents' rights. While it may take years or decades, it sparks hope that there are people from Brazil and even elsewhere that take on the fight. What has impressed you the most? About what would you like to know more? Let me know in the comments, hit subscribe and leave a like if you want to see other constructive reports and why you shouldn't give up hope for humanity.